get your 3 main points out, and I'll bring my 3 main points out. And this is only for the sake of having an understanding of Hindi versus Kannada. I'm just suggesting, I'm saying, why have this debate in the first place? And why are we talking about this? Because what are we picking up? It says here, netizens' photo of Bengaluru metro signboard triggers a language row in Karnataka. So again, it's not the first time that we're seeing a language row that's taking place in Karnataka. So what the photograph where the instruction is in Hindi
has been pasted
inside a Bengaluru metro train were taped, and it was shaped. It was shared by somebody. So you had instructions in Hindi written over there, and you had a tape that was pasted on top of it. Ki boss, no room for Hindi, at least not in the Karnataka metro, in the Bengaluru metro. Well, why not Hindi? What's wrong? Because Bengaluru is a metropolitan. So many people from outside Bengaluru, non-Kannadigas, non-Kannada speakers, could go there. The idea is not to replace Kannada with Hindi, but to also substitute, also give it that extra push, because you have a lot of other people who are not Kannada speakers who might travel in Bengaluru. Do you agree with the fact that
let me ask you this question. Under the 8th schedule, other than Hindi, tell one Indian language that you know.
Kannada.
Speak to me.
Well, that's my fault. That's my shortcoming.
It is not your shortcoming. It is
my shortcoming.
Administrator's shortcoming.
It might be the
No, I'll tell you what, Kabir.
It might be the shortcoming
of
the
administrator's shortcoming that an Indian language is not taught other than Hindi in certain regions. That's the reason.
The amount of languages we have.
I'll tell you, the amount of languages we have, of course, why can't you learn 2 Indian languages? Why can't we learn 2 Indian languages?
We can learn 10
Indian languages. You expect a South Indian to learn Hindi. You expect him to learn his native language.
Who is this you?
Tell me, why is it that South India is pushed with the 3 language formula, and why
because
North
the linguistic burden of the South is different. Linguistic burden of the South is different.
My question is very simple. Why is it that you have a 3 language formula in South and you have a 2 language formula in the North?
Because the linguistic burden of the North Indians is lesser than the linguistic burden of those in South.
So when you come down to South, if you come down to
South, it only benefits the South Indians.
ಆದರೆ ನಾನು ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇರೋದು ಭಾರತದಲ್ಲಿ ಇಷ್ಟೊಂದು ವಿವಿಧ ಭಾಷೆಗಳಿವೆ, ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದಾದರೂ ನಿನಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಾ ಹಿಂದಿ ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಹೇಳಿ? Hindi, exactly the point. You didn't understand.
Yeah, precisely.
Exactly the point. Now the same thing over there. A person who's who has been from that region.
But there's Kannada written over there.
There is Kannada written and there is English written. Why is it not possible for this thing? Why does it? The question asked over there. Why is it the priority not given to the regional language, and you have a 3 language formula? Why is it that one section of the people are expected to learn Hindi, English and the local language, while the others do disrespect it? That is the question.
Nobody is disrespecting anything here.
It's not the question of this thing. See, please understand, there is a Hindi imposition debate that's going on.
That's a separate thing. That's a separate thing.
No, that is what I'm saying.
Under that
when you come to a public space, when you
I
come
know
to a
that there
public
is dissent down south against Hindi. There is dissent down south against Hindi.
Whatever, there is dissent against Hindi, but it's not that it's not people don't know. People know Hindi. It's
I'm
not that they do.
And I'm not
but the question for me over here is now they are reasserting. I know you're not debating for it, but I'm just trying to say, look at the complication.
If there is a space, if I have a board this big, if I have a board this big enough.
It's written over there, mind the gap. It's written mind the gap. That was the entire thing was there.
Because
then
there was only
Kannada instruction.
There was only this much space.
There was a Kannada instruction. My question is, you have the question over there, why don't you make an effort to learn another Indian language if you're staying in that city? You get the point.
What if I'm not staying? What if I'm just traversing? What if I'm traveling?
You have English.
But what if I don't know English?
Also when you say,
on the metro, in something like the metro, listen to me. In something like the metro,
it's a Bengaluru metro. It is the Bengaluru metro.
Bengaluru metro. In something like the Bengaluru metro. Metro is a facility. So now my question for everybody.
My question is,
it's a service for everybody, isn't it?
Very good. It's a service for everybody. Someone who knows only Kannada comes to Delhi and he has only things in 2 languages, that is in Hindi as well as in English. He knows only Kannada. How will he survive? The same argument that you sent to me, I'm putting it across in a public space.
Well,
The
you know
language
what?
Rao is going to continue, Kabir. We'll continue this debate later.
We will. See, somebody who's going to Japan, you can't expect that person to learn Japanese just because he's traveling in the Japanese metro. Somebody who's traveling from Tamil Nadu or Karnataka to the national capital in Delhi, you can't have. No, I'm giving you. You were giving me that example.
We are not different countries. We are one country.
We are one country.
I am saying,
but we're a different country. We're a unique country. We're a subcontinent.
Yes,
we've got so many dialects.
But Kabir, the fact remains is that
how can you expect everybody to learn
why
all
is
the
it?
languages?
Why is it an average South Indian learns 2 Indian languages while an average North Indian learns
I'm trying
only
to
1
give you
Indian
that answer.
language?
If you'd listen to me, I'm trying to give you that answer.
I would say that one South Indian language should, or any other language, I'm not saying South Indian, even Odia or Bengali or any other, one more Indian language should be promoted among students so that there is some kind of interaction. I mean, there have been people.
Curriculum is something that is being spoken about. National education policy is being thrown about here and there.
Yes, still we have not reached that point.
Change and revision of curriculum is always going to be there.
Why haven't we reached? I'll tell you, in Kerala what they do. There are migrant workers.
You know what? We're at a positive time here. We're going to throw this debate up later in the day, in the afternoon. Let's actually have a conversation about this because it's not about Hindi or Kannada or Karnataka or North India. It's not about North India or South India.
It's not about.
And why I'm saying this, there are proper research pages which I will share also on my Instagram for all the viewers out there as well, because all these research papers also tell us and show us that the linguistic burden of the South is more, which has only benefited the South Indians, and India indirectly.
I am not talking about the benefit. I am talking about nothing of that sort.
The research papers also go on to say that North Indians...
Why the burden is only on the South Indian? That is the only question.
Because of the geography, because of history, because of who the South Indians are.
Exactly the point.
Because of the scriptures.
Exactly
because of the scriptures,
Exactly the point.
It's not the fault of some North Indian child who's taking birth in Delhi.
I'm not
fault that,
arguing about a child.
The scriptures were so advanced back in the day.
I'm not saying in a biased attitude that a person who's come from North or is this thing have to be on this level. My question is very simple over here. My question is why we did not let 2 Indian languages to be learned so that at least the communication could have been in those languages.
No, you're absolutely right.
We have become islands of communication. That is the problem. And that is when we see these symptoms coming out, we sit and discuss
what is being done is done. All I'm saying is in the Bengaluru metro, if you've got this big a place, if the place is just this much, well, prioritize Karnataka by all means. If you've got a little bit more, prioritize English after Karnataka. But if you've got one more and you're pasting a tape on Hindi. I mean, if it was some other language, you wouldn't paste a tape on it, or would you still paste a tape on it?
My question over there, the question is very simple. Would you have the same thing done over here? That is the question. It's a public space. Will it be done over here? No.
On the Delhi metro. Why will you have Kannada in the Delhi metro?
That's what I'm saying. So
but if you have,
you have answered my question.
But if you have a separate space,
my question.
If you have a separate space. Because the necessity is the mother of invention. When you need something, do you require it?
When we try to defend, my issues have been there. When we try to defend something of a historical nature like this, we are not letting people to have or learn other kind of languages, and we are having our islands of language development. And then you have this idea of that one state should go for 3-language formula. I mean, a lot of people have gone for 2-language formula. You go to West Bengal also, it's only a 2-language formula that you have. You go to Tamil Nadu, it's a 2-language formula that they have. Why they are insisting on a 2-language formula?
2-language formula, 3-language formula, it never came to me when I was going through my studies. I learned, my mother used to speak Bengali at home. I learned French. I learned German.
Exactly, we learn it at home.
I learned German. And it's not because I hated Kannada or I did not know about Tamil. That's not the thing. Or maybe, my tongue couldn't do those kind of phonetics. I'm not saying that
you are wrong about it. Over here, what happens it is about a language debate. It's about how this particular public infrastructure is in a particular
state. I'll tell you when it would have been a problem.
So no, I'm saying it's in a particular state. Now the question is the same infrastructure is there in this place also. Now what happens is that why insist on something? That is the issue. And of course, this language row is going to continue, and I think we are going to keep arguing about it. So,
exactly.
Because, I mean, I have historical reasons why I would. You have your historical reasons.
Hindi imposition down south. You know how the Home Minister has spoken about it. How various ministers in Karnataka have spoken about it. How Tamil Nadu has reacted to it.
It's not Tamil Nadu.
It's a-
See, in
it's a-
Kerala,
it's
it is
a-
also totally.
it's
It's
Kerala- in
silently,
Kerala as
they
well.
have
Yeah,
imposed.
precisely. I
There's
agree.
only when I went to fill my daughter's birth registration form. There's only 2 options in that, and even that option has been removed. I had to fill a complete.
See, now that is wrong. That is wrong.
This thing. I'm telling you, wait.
That
I'm
is
saying-
absolutely wrong.
And I'm saying, but the state is imposing its culture, right?
I'm only
That
talking
is the
about
thing.
this particular case in a metro. And why I say metro is because it's a public transport. It's for everybody. It's for everybody.
Similar.
A locality
So
on
here
the
also,
ground.
here also in the national capital. This is the national capital, right? So in the national capital.
But
also
here
there
the
are-
local language is not Kannada, no?
So
Varghese.
but I'm saying over there
Over
also
there
the local language is
Kannada.
Kannada. So it's
Yeah,
the local
it's
language
there.
is not Hindi.
No, it's not Hindi.
Exactly.
Which is
you
why it's
answered.
not- which is
You
why
again
Hindi
you
is not
answered. You
prioritized.
answered my you
No,
answered my question.
See, you're trying to prove a point, and that is
And being the national capital, you have people coming from everywhere. over there.
everywhere.
Of course, you
precisely.
can't have all the
I
languages
agree,
there.
yeah.
I agree with that.
Yeah,
But there should be a common
you agree with
language
that.
on
Now, if I answer back by saying you answered my question, that won't look nice.
No.
What I'm saying is again trying to understand. Look at broaden your horizon.
why is it that we have to broaden our horizon while we don't
why
have others
have you
broadening their
taken it upon
horizon?
yourself? I'm
It's
trying
not
to explain
about-
to another person,
I'm trying to
another Indian,
I'm also
another
trying-
human being.
I'm also speaking to another Indian. My question is on this debate has been on that. I mean, when we were discussing about it, also it's been on that only. So
It would have been a problem. According to me, it would really have been a problem had there been this much space.
I am
and
saying, in a
instead
diverse
of
country like
in a
us,
Karn-
in a
listen,
diverse country like
listen,
us.
listen. If you had on the top of the metro board on the door, you had Kannada written, and below that you had
These-
space. But over
the
there,
same-
instead of English, you would have written it in
Let
Hindi.
me tell you the same thing.
That
the
would have
same
been
thing.
Hindi imposition.
See, I'm saying over there in that board, they pasted it. It's a 3-language formula. It's been an issue that's been going on in
Yeah,
Karnataka. There's
longest
history to
time.
that.
All politics,
this
political
works on language.
around it.
So my question is, being the national capital, shouldn't we on all our public this thing? If we go by the language formula, represent all the languages. If I go by this thing, 8 languages and all the instructions, do you think there'll be enough space on it? No. So what happens is, similarly, we won't be able to represent everything in our this thing also, and plus the regional language should be given its importance. That's all. I'm just saying that. That's all. We are not saying that we want to impose our language on you. You want to impose our language. I spoke to you in Kannada. You couldn't understand anything about it. Similarly, the common language that we have is this. My question was that over years, for example, if Kabir had learned Kannada or had learned a second Indian language of Tulu, which is Tamil or Tulu or any other South Indian language, he would have been able to communicate. Similarly, because here they are learning Hindi anyway, in the South they do learn Hindi and they are communicating with you. You get the point? So the interaction integrity would have been much more faster.
I'm just thinking from the point of view, and we are moving on, ladies and gentlemen. I'm just thinking from the point of view of somebody who's born in, let's say, Karnataka, but was brought up in the north, but got stationed. His father was stationed in Tamil Nadu, so he got a little bit of hang of Tamil. Doesn't know Kannada as much, knows Hindi. He then travels to another South Indian state, let's say the Hyderabad metro, where Telugu is written, and he faces problem over.
He won't face a problem with it because over there there's instruction in English also.
In instruction.
So English is
also.
technically a common language
That's
for
what I'm
everyone.
So English becomes the linchpin, right?
It becomes the link language.
That's what I'm saying. English becomes the linchpin.
Link language.
Link language. English becomes the link language.
Then the
so you have Karnataka. I'm not saying Hindi and Karnataka is being linked with English.
Kannada.
Kannada.
Yeah.
Kannada and Hindi are being linked because via English. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying had English been superseded by Hindi, that would have been a major problem.
Over here, I think the common link language for states that do not have a commonality with Hindi is English.
Anyway, let Basaraj Bommai and Siddaramaiah fight over this.